We recently put out a video on how one day God's going to create a new earth, and the Bible says that we're going to live there forever with God and Jesus, and we're going to have immortal bodies. And a few people commented and said, well, great, but why didn't God just start out with the perfect world? And I think it's a great question. And I think there are many ways you could answer that. Some people would argue that, well, in a way, he kind of did start out with the perfect world with Adam and Eve. You know, there was no sin or anything in Eden at the time. But, you know, one thing I really think we have to remember is this. From the very beginning, God has always wanted really one big thing: a family of children, immortal children who could think and would choose him. And so he, as you know, he created the angels. But the Bible says many of them, with Satan, chose to leave God and do their own thing. Basically, they didn't appreciate what they had. I mean, look, they had immortal bodies. They had no pain. They had the presence of God right there. They were just created with it. And yet they left that. They didn't appreciate it. So in a way, it's almost like God says, okay, I'm going to create a being who will appreciate my presence.
All right, Seth Furry, I need your help. I'm building my same game parlay with DraftKings for the big game this weekend, and I don't know what to choose. All right, let's do it. Will the game be high scoring? Nice. Will there be more than 2 touchdowns in the first quarter? Okay, last one.
I'm going to create a being who will appreciate my presence, who will appreciate the immortal life. And so he created humans, us. And then he puts us on this earth that's far from perfect. And he even allowed Satan to make it so that we experience things like pain, sadness, and death. I mean, just look at the story of Job. So why do we have to go through all this? I think one reason, a big reason, is so that when we finally do enter the presence of God with no pain, with no sickness, no more suffering, no more sadness, when we are actually finally in that moment, we, unlike the angels who left God in the beginning, we will appreciate it. Because you can only truly appreciate something when you know what it's like to not have it. Let me ask you a question. When you think back throughout your life and you think about the pain, the sadness, the death, health issues that you've had to face, you think about all that. When you finally put on that immortal body, when you finally stand face to face with Jesus in the presence of God, how will you feel? Will you appreciate it? I bet you will. You will be so grateful because you know what it's like to not have that. You would never abandon it. And so, in a way, this world, this age, has filtered out those who will truly appreciate God and those who desire God. And not just humans, but it also filtered out the angels who truly desired God versus those who didn't. And so in the end, God's going to get exactly what he has always wanted. An immortal family of children who choose him. And in this anti-God, sinful world of temptation, if you are one of the few who can stand and boldly say, I choose to be on God's side. I love God. I desire God. And Jesus is my king. I love God. I desire God. And Jesus is my king. If you are one of the few who can say that in this day and age, guess what? You're blessed. Because you will be one of those immortal children. Remember that.